So my name is Naima. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, and my company helps women grow up and come into their full, forbidden, raw power. We help them refine the power. So the power that they have pushed down, been afraid of, hidden behind, etc., that they develop the skill and the spaciousness, the maturity, and the capacity to be powerful beings out in the world. It's difficult work to be a woman in her full power. And so my company specializes in this work for the women who are ready. We do this through a community, through courses, and through high-level mentorship, okay? And another aspect that it's actually a part of the work that we already do, but this live stream is expanding it. So it's like laying it down, we're expanding. True love as a being, you, yourself, and in relationship with others, you modeling, you being open to, and basically you showing what love looks like in your way of being. And I know love is, there's lots of Cinderella, Disney foo-foo around love. I'm talking about real love, not transactional love, not you prove it to me love, not you earn it love, not well, we'll see if kinda love. I mean, true love. So we'll get more into what that looks like, sounds like. I'm very open to all the very predictable things that people ask about. What about this? What about she's this and he's that? And all the fears and hungry ghosts that are saturating people's minds that gets in the way of them having the deeply nourishing, viscerally felt connection that all humans crave. And yet most humans do not have the spaciousness, the capacity, and the willingness to actually have the love that they're starving for. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? So the email that I sent out about 45 minutes ago to my email community, I talked about, it was like part 3 of a series that I've been doing, reintroducing myself to the people who are in my orbit. And in the email I sent to my email community about 45 minutes ago, which by the way, you can get on that email community list by going to the link in my bio, clicking it, and subscribe where it says Er0tic Path Newsletter. So in the email that I sent out today, I talked about what I eventually came to know once I started to allow my love to live out in the world in the way I loved. And I know that a lot of other, call it whatever you want, I call it angelic beings, who before you got beat up by the world, you were incredibly loving, indiscriminately. You were loving indiscriminately. You weren't looking for somebody to prove something to you. You weren't looking to, like, I'll cook for you if you give me money. You just gave indiscriminately. Anybody here remember that in you? Okay. Your priority was joy. A lot of this live stream today will trigger remembrance. So once upon a time, your priority was joy. Once upon a time, your priority was fun. Once upon a time, you were, let's play. You wanted everybody to play. You wanted everybody to be involved. You wanted everybody to feel good. You wanted everybody to belong. There was no, well, cause, or he gotta, or I don't like girls that, and it was it, right? Now, albeit there was some naivete in there, right? Because we hadn't been beat up by the world yet, right? So we're talking about 20s, early 20s, younger, right? So perhaps before you got your first job, before you got out into the world and did adult things, right? And so what I talked about in there was before I really realized that society does not like true love. It's not receptive to true love. And I won't go into how things have been set up for the current design. Before I realized society was resistant to true love or unearned love, I was the kind of girl that would hug strangers on the street. And I shared a memory that I have around driving down the street in Oakland, California one afternoon. I was in my 20s, maybe like 23-ish. And I just had this urge, this strong urge to hug. And so I scanned and I saw a man standing on the street. I parked real quick, hopped out the car, walked over to him and was like, I know this might seem strange, but I'd like to hug and you seem like somebody that I might want to hug too. Would you like to hug? And I'm a stranger, so, he looks at me the way you might imagine a stranger would look at you if you just walked up to them and asked for a hug. But he said, okay. And when I tell you, I remember it like it was yesterday. We just melted into each other. And then we pulled away and he looked at me and he was like, thank you. That just made my day. And that's it. Went our separate ways, right? And so, and thank you for sharing the live stream. Thank you. So, that's that, right? And I also talked about in the email that I sent out that this behavior that we judge in men today, and I'll just drop right here, every man is somebody's son, right? Those of you who have adult sons or teenage sons, you remember who he was before he got tainted, right? And maybe he did demonstrate, behavior that is deemed undesirable, but don't you have undesirable behavior too? So what I want to get at here is, again, I'm getting at how do we stream love clean? I want to lay that down here for those of you whose emotions will rise as we're here today and you'll get lost in the sauce. We're remembering what our intent here is to become the people who can stream love clean, because we already know what the alternative is, right? Isolation, misery, joining the 4B and the decenterment movement, projecting, blaming, fill in the blank with whatever your version of being unable, unwilling to stream love clean. Okay? So the way we villainize men, they're predators because of their desire to have sex. Their desire to have sex with multiple women. Okay, so that's like a whole other live stream to do at another time, right? And when you're honest with yourself about sex, okay, woman, so I'm in this live stream is for men and women, so I'm gonna back and forth. So for right now, talking to the women, how many of you either currently desire to have sex, or maybe you used to and you experienced some kind of heartbreak, disappointment that reduced your libido, or maybe you are a virgin and you're now curious, you're ready to lean that way, okay? Either way, there's some kind of hunger for sex. And for those of us who are very experienced with sex, especially deep and connected sex, we know that the act of sex alone is very lackluster. Just the act of it is the act of it alone is like niente. It means nothing in Italian, niente. It's the connection inside the sex that the two beings are looking for. Yes or no? Like one of the women in my women community was like, I want to fuck. And if a person is just thinking about the act, you could think like, but what she was really saying, and I could hear this, anybody who lives in the underbelly of society, the truth of true love, the real deep, dark, fertile soil of primordial creation, anybody who lives in this domain, you can hear what people mean. So when she said, I want to fuck, I instantly heard somebody who was looking for rich connection. Anybody here relate to that? You don't relate to that, Dallas? Thank you for your honesty. That's what we want around here. Honesty. I love it. I love it. Mindless. So it's not mindless. It's very much because she's in my community, and I did a whole live stream and we had a whole conversation around it, myself and two other women. So it's absolutely not mindless. It's what it looks like when somebody's hunger is unmet. So thank you for bringing your expression forward, Dallas. And so I'll say this before I go on. Part of the vision that I'm sharing now, and I'll continue to share, is that we're going to start meeting in person. I want to meet in Houston in May and Brooklyn in August. And part of the value, the richness, the spaciousness, the maturity, the welcome that's in any room that I am co-hosting, facilitating, leading, is that the variety of perceptions get a chance to be safe and expressive in the room. What do I mean? So you see how Dallas, she heard I want to fuck and sees it as mindless. Where and there's other people who would agree with Dallas, right? Nobody is good or bad, right or wrong. Others, like me, would hear I want to fuck, and we can hear that somebody's unmet hunger, it started off as something that felt a little gentler. More like what women call lovey-dovey and connection. It starts like that. Then when it doesn't get met, it turns into, I wanna have. This is what it looks like when an unmet hunger expresses itself. Did y'all catch that? This is the level of maturity that humans need, women need, men need, Black people need. Maturity. Maturity. They got a smashed and they're gentle with you? Maybe. Maybe not. So if a nigga smash and he's still hard, then what story do you make up, Dallas? You see what I'm getting at here? You got to be so like when y'all say woman, this is what I mean. So I'll say this for the person who just said very few people are mature, or I think you meant to say immature, right? Here is the issue with why so many people are immature. There's two dynamics at play that I'm going to speak to, and you see we kind of over, but we're going to come back. One, how many of you don't even have environments where you can refine your humanhood without being judged and abandoned? Again, how many of you have relationships where you have the safety to refine your humanhood, your emotions, your ignorance, to get to know who you are, to allow the stories that you create, that you live in as true, that prohibit your ability to connect, and you can be in relationships with people that can say, oh, that's a story, that's not even true, without judging you, shaming you, and saying they don't want to be your friend anymore. So one, most people never have the relationships to become mature in. That's one. To the person who said very few people are immature, or very few people are mature. That's one. Two, so many of us have been beat down, starting with our parents, the church, high school, college, ex-boyfriends, husbands, lovers. And now we're so tight and rigid and tense that we are non-receptive to even a little bit of love. We're skeptical about even a little bit of love. We're just, ugh. And even the thought or conversations about love or fucking or love making or connection or men or raw or primal. So as a visionary, as a lover, as a big-hearted being, as all the things, I'm all the things, just like so many of you are, that you yet to allow yourself to live loudly and abundantly and expressive in the world. As a visionary who is all things, the environments that I'm creating that some of you will come to. Hello, New Zealand. You're going to fly over to Brooklyn. You're going to fly over to Houston. You're going to fly to Italy. For those of you who come into my environments, it is the space for you to refine your humanhood and live in true love. Mark that. Refine your humanhood and live in true love. This is next level for humans, for melanin dominant people, for the relationships between melanin dominant men and women, your relationships with your colleagues, with your children, with your parents, with other people in your life. This is where we're going. It's all connected. It's all connected. Where I went off for a minute was talking about your desire for sex as a woman and a man's desire for sex, i.e. connection. And remembering is so important because a lot of the work that I've been doing with women is to really ready women to have what they most want in the world. And while a lot of women are hungry, excited, eager, focused on making their money, they are making the money and they're still hungry for the connection. But they prohibit the connection because they're so angry. Their hearts, they have a corrosion all around their big old hearts. And so while they're making money, they're traveling and they're showing y'all pictures on the internet of how wonderful their travels are. And they just swam in these blue waters in the Caribbean, and they're flying first class, and they just took some Italian cooking class in this village in Italy, and they're in the gondola in Venice, and they are in the mountains of New Zealand, and they are in Switzerland eating chocolate and enjoying the snow, and they are doing all the things. What they're not talking about is how hungry they are for connection. And so they're like hungry ghosts all over the internet. Hungry ghosts all over the internet. Hungry ghosts. Dallas, you're really hungry to burn away some of your expressions here today. The uncultured and so many of you have so much corrosion around your mind, and I feel your desire to want to burn it away so you can allow more of an abundant life and expression and connection in. That's how I receive you, Dallas. And I want to say this right now. Thank you, because you're a really good example. This is really good because a lot of people would look at this as catty bitch behavior, like, low quality behavior, like troublemaking behavior. So this is a feminine version. And so a man's version would be what y'all would call the ones y'all be clowning in the comments on social media, because he comes like, the big one I hear a lot of black men calling black women is hyenas, clowning, right? And so that is what would be considered, y'all would call bad behavior, right? Nigga. And one of the things that I said in the email I sent to my community this morning is that we don't realize how much bad behavior is an unmet hunger. Bad behavior is an unmet hunger, and it prohibits the ability for love to stream clean. Okay? Hi, Desha. People be empty because they're disconnected from their culture. Is that entirely true? Who is people? You got big old stories that you live inside of. Wow. What an adventure. And this is everybody. But I wanted to use that as an example of, for those of you who are serious about connection, and I'll ask the question right now. And again, we're going to get back to, and I'm bringing men into this because they're half of the human population. Hello. And with men that I've talked to and women that I've talked to, it's like we're waiting for each other, but we're separate. She's waiting for him, but it's unconscious. It's like he's waiting for her, and it's like we're looking at each other, and it's like all the corrosion is in the way. And the desires behind all of the chatty, brokenhearted, upset, feeling unseen, unloved, want to know who they are. And so each party, right? So this is not just to bring together the sexes. This is about, first of all, the woman being whole, because as I say repeatedly, the man is responding to the woman all the time. He's responding to you. So if you want to play damsel and, small and all that, you're going to get a man who's going to come and put on whatever he needs to put on to meet you at that level. And then if you see, you play at a level of power, knowing who you are, etc., you end up meeting and connecting further with men who are at that level. But question. True love. And what is true love? Honest flow of connection. That's true love. Honest flow of connection. Who here is hungry, ready, eager to live in true love? Let me know in the comments. Desha, what can we ignore? What? Can we ignore what, Desha? Acknowledging Dallas's is it Dallas? Yeah, Dallas. You mean ignoring Dallas? Hi, Puma. Puma. Is that Puma? Yeah, Puma. So this is good. So this is the conversation, right? Imagine we're in a room, like a physical room, right? But we're online, right? So just imagine we were in a room and Dallas was being like this, and then Desha was like, "Can we just ignore Dallas? Can we just?" That's why I'm laughing. I'm imagining we're all in a room, and I'm going to, and Desha's like over there, like, "Oh God, can we move on, please?" And here's the thing: nobody is left behind. Okay, if we need to ignore Desha, or Dallas, we're going to remove her. Okay, and listen. We're on Earth, sweetheart. We're on Earth. You want to get to ignoring folks? These folks that's going in here shooting up schools have been ignored. Okay, in the United States, these folks going in here shooting up buildings, shooting up schools, those are ignored people. Okay, I won't go further off into that, but so I see a lot of y'all. Puma said, "I never stopped." That's just trying to stay positive. It's not even trying to stay positive. We'll talk more. We'll go further. I'm glad you all can find some humor in this. Okay, good. So the reason why I asked that question is because when you mean it, because it's easy to just say it here, right? When you mean it, you recognize one, that we're not ignoring people. I mean, you can, right? Obviously, you can do whatever you want to. But to really, because as I said in the email, to actually engage in a life of true love, where first of all, it starts with you. It's not like you're going out there doing it and getting it. It's who you are. It's the highest and most difficult work you'll do, because everything about you that blocks love gets confronted. So for example, so much of what Dallas has shared here has been, we can hear where her blocks are to love, right? Oh, he got to smash first, then he's gentle. So any woman who walks around with that story, right? Like a man has to smash first, then he's gentle, then she's going to show up to the relationship with that expectation. And it's not even just that. It's holding on to any story or belief that is, how do you know that's even true? Like fully true. It could be true with him, but what if that's not the case with him? What if he's a tender guy? Like, what if this guy is looking for a wife? What if this guy just wants to smash and he's not gentle at all? He just want to fuck you and he out the door. He don't even say bye. What if this guy is, you see what I mean? But you see how, because everything outside of you, you have no control over. The only thing you have control over is yourself. So your job and value is to be in love, period. And let me ask you this. How many of you, as I'm speaking, or maybe you've already experienced the exhaustion with trying to trade fake love to get something versus just being love? Like you having sex with him with the expectation that he's going to give you something, and then he doesn't, and then you mad. Like that's, you trying to trade transactional love versus your love, period. So I said earlier that, speaking from a woman's perspective, the hunger for connection, for sex, starts off as like oftentimes it starts off as something that feels a little gentler. Connection. Oh, I want to make love. And then the need or the hunger doesn't get met. Or doesn't get met. And oftentimes it's not getting met because she's not actually giving attention to it. Or she has a bunch of barricades around it because she actually has so many conditions on the love itself. It's not true, clean, streaming love. It's, well, if he acts like this, if he gives me this, if he does this, as long as I, this, and that. And before you know it, she's exhausted herself out of the experience of connection. Where if she was just true and honest, which by the way, I have 4, maybe 5 necessities for streaming love clean here that I'm going to share here in just a moment. So because she has all this condition around her desire for connection, and then all the corrosion around her heart and blame and, perhaps unresolved trauma and all the things, the hunger goes unmet. And this is the feminine side. Unmet. And men have their own version of unmet hunger. So then eventually that thing evolves and it either turns into a closed up shop, where like the libido dies, or it doesn't die, it just goes dormant, and it's like all of a sudden now she's celibate, but she didn't really mean to be celibate. It's just that she has so many conditions around the sex and anger and congestion around the heart that she blocked it and congested it all up, and then the aliveness of it just went dormant. That's really what happened. And then now she telling y'all she went celibate, right? Who was that here? Anybody? So, but then eventually what happens is the unmet hunger that's dormant and laid down there, it turns into a bitterness. There's a dryness because connection enlivens us. It brings us into remembrance of life. It activates our God power. Those of you who are saying, I want my divine feminine, it activates all of your juices. You could be in a rainy, snowy, or, poor weather, or, not desirable conditions, but because you're in connection, life is alive. Versus when that connection is gone, the connection that happens when you're in true love with humans, not just males, but humans, period, starting with yourself. You could be anywhere. You could be in the worst condition, or when you're not in the connection, you could be on the best beach with white sand and warm water, and somehow you're miserable because that connection enlivens us. So when that's dormant and there's a kind of bitterness and rigidity that comes, that's what makes you prime for the 4B movement, the decentrament. It's what makes you prime for all the man-hating content. It's what makes you prime for joining all of these man-bashing contents, comments, communities. That's the feminine side. On the masculine side, they have their own version of not getting their needs met. Women blaming them for the desire for sex, blaming them for wanting to have sex with a multitude of women, where a lot of women, if they didn't worry about being shamed and called a hoe, they would want to have multiple men too. You see, and this ties into honesty and self-awareness. I'm going to speak those in a minute. Hold on. But his desire for connection, because just like you want connection, are you all aware that men want connection too? Like, even y'all say they just want to smash, even just smashing is a connection for them. Like, don't sometimes you just want to fucking get up? Sometimes you want to cuddle. Sometimes you just want to fucking get up. The man and the woman wants that. But somehow they get demonized for wanting to fucking get up. But somehow when we do it, it's like, because that's what I want, kind of thing. So anyway, the man's hunger goes unmet. And what does he turn into? A rapist. He becomes susceptible to red pill. He becomes susceptible to all of the take women's rights away content and bitches ain't shit. That's unmet hunger. That's unmet hunger. And then his own corrosion of a heart. Because we know a woman could get her heart broke over and over and come back. A man get his heart broke one time and he a womanizer for life. And then when we are out, I'm telling you, the woman is it, baby. When a woman is love, period, not like trying to transact love to get something. When a woman is love, period. She's love, period. Assholes, womanizers, narcissists, the worst behavior in men. When he comes into close proximity with her, that shit dissolves. For real. It dissolves. I can tell you so many stories of engagements I've had with assholes. And I can see the asshole because I see the asshole in myself. And this is why I said in the email that went out to my email community that when I see myself, I see you. And it ties into what I said is deeply lacking and what you're going to need and what you're going to develop when you come into my environments. Again, I want to do Houston in May. And I'm calling in team to help. I need team for this to happen. It's required. Houston in May, Brooklyn in August. I said, what's deeply lacking in the human is deep self-awareness, radical honesty, and self-facing compassion. I repeat that. Deep self-awareness, radical honesty, and self-facing compassion. When you do those things with yourself, your humanhood goes through the roof. So when you see bad behavior in other humans, you've seen it in yourself. And because you have the compassion in yourself, when an asshole comes your way, it's actually funny and a chance to connect because you see the asshole in yourself. So there have been times when I've been at social events and there's always assholes Assholes are everywhere. Okay, we're all assholes on some level, depending on what's going on, the mood, what's going on in our life, etc. I'm at this event. I remember, I actually still know this guy. Asshole written all on his face, all on his posture, just asshole. And this was a business networking event in Sacramento. And it was in the back of a bar. They had turned it into a social space. So they had those bar tables where you stand, right, drink, talk kind of thing. And we were in there, and people walk around, meet each other, and I'm standing at the table. I'm not moving. I decided to just stand, and he's walking through the room. We make eye contact. He comes over to the table. I see asshole written all over this man's face. And right, I know this stuff, right? And so, assholes typically, they start conversations like this. So what's your story? Right? So what's your story? So why are you here? Just moody. You're ready to just huff and puff about what you got to say type shit, right? So he says something like, so what's your story? And I look at him. I see you. I see you. I see you. And here's the thing. This is what I mean by you become a better human. This yelling at people and judging people for bad behavior, it's not getting us nowhere. What do you do after you judge somebody for bad behavior? What do? You just walk away? It doesn't get us anywhere. What happens after you finish talking shit to somebody who was acting bad? What happens? Somebody say something to you. It doesn't. What's your real goal here as a human? What's your real goal here as a teacher, a mother, a healer, a leader, a good human, a valuable what's your goal here? Just to shit on other humans and then somebody shit on you? What are you doing here? My company is about restoring true. It's not even just my company. I keep saying my company. It is. I need somebody to come run the damn company so I can stay in visionary. Okay. Everybody is wanting connection. Everybody. Your worst human being to your saint. Everybody. Your most horrible behaving badly people to the people who you think are good people, and everybody in between. Everybody is looking for connection. Everybody wants to be seen. People want it real. But when you so busy corroded in your own heart, you still all the things, mad, judging, projecting, waiting. This is why I say you are the love, period. And this is work. It's hard, high level work. It's hard and high level work. And it happens in relationship with people where they piss you off. You don't want to fuck with them. Now you salty. They said something you didn't like. They didn't do this right. This seemed like this. And then you start making up all these stories about what they meant, what the intention, what they doing, why they did it. Oh no, see, because I know she see, I know. Yeah. And before you know, y'all just go separate ways. Didn't even get to the bottom of the shit. Then y'all might reconnect 3 years later and you find out she wasn't thinking and feeling and saying that at all. You made up a whole story and left because of a whole story you made up. If you're a leader, teacher, medicine woman, coach, mother, author, and you really plan to be a quality human out here in the world, you want rich relationships that are life-giving, that are delightful, that are a joy to be in, that are abundant. Abbondante. That's how you say abundant in Italian. Abbondante. I love it. Abbondante. This is going to happen in relationships with other people who are doing this on purpose like you. So he's like, so what's your story? Or some kind of, the classic asshole conversation starter. And the look is the connection, the look. And that right there dissolved a little bit of the asshole. Not a lot, just a little bit. You can sense it. Just versus if you start judging him as soon as he give you that, and then you why are you here? Or walk off or get into this catty situation with him, right? This is what I mean. You see what happens when you're love, period, how you can shift something. I'll just give him the look. And then one of the 4 points here is, if you're serious about love streaming clean, you have to be radically honest. And number 2 is being willing to be entirely responsible for one's reality. So in that instance, the question is, you seem like you don't really want to be here. Why you ask me that question like that? You seem like you don't really want to be here. Because my goal is to actually connect, not to get into a catty with him. Now, see, that requires a willingness in me, a spaciousness in me, a vulnerability in me. And how many of you are ready for that? How many of you are ready to be spacious with somebody who's behaving badly? How many of you are ready to look in the eye quietly with compassion with a womanizer, a narcissist, a bad behaving individual, and flip it and imagine it's you? You have a day where you just being a real bitch, and you at the checker at wherever you shop, and the person who's helping you can sense that you're an asshole, and they meet you with the same energy. They start throwing your shit around, being rude back at you. I mean, that's how you want to do it, because you do it, some of y'all, sometimes. Or imagine if this checker see you being a bitch, being impatient, with a snarl look on your face, just looks at you, and she say, I'm sorry if it seems like you're having a bad day. You okay? And she just took the time because she's love, period. Period. She's not like, well, I'll be nice to her. She nice to I'm not being cool with her because she acting like a bitch. What are we after here? What are we after here? And like somebody here says, sometimes, I'm not saying you're not going to have days where you're just like, well, I don't give a fuck today. And how much more often would you like to be on the streaming clean side? How much more often would it be favorable, advantageous to you and the other to be on the streaming clean side? Yeah, we're not talking about some deep old connection, Dallas. It's just a matter of, I don't have to become an asshole because you're an asshole. And I say, seems like you're not doing too well. I hope your day gets better. Boom, easy. If you really want it, you do it easily. All the drama of it, people want to get their stuff and go home, too tired to connect. What are you talking about, too tired? Too tired to do what? To just say, oh, it seems like your day's not going too well. I hope your day gets better. That's it. That's connection right there. There's different ways to connect. Dallas, I think it might be useful for you to speak in the first person. You speak very projecting. People are like this. People don't do, people are like, are you saying I'm annoyed by happy people because oftentimes I'm depressed? Speak for you. I've noticed that as the trend for you here. You talk about people. So you're a big projecting out to what people do. People don't want to connect. People want to go home. People are tired. Speak for yourself. This is very useful. So anyway, now the bad behavior, the bad behavior that you judge, that we judge in one another, whether it's in, platonic with your mom, with your, right? All of our relationships are opportunities to see how we are being as humans. So I want to share these 4 points that are necessary for love to stream clean. Points that are necessary for love to stream clean. And then to speak a little bit more about gathering in person, co-ed. So here are the 4, and there are more, but these are 4 that's hot right now. So, what's necessary for love to stream clean? Here's what's necessary for love to stream clean. One, and this is for women, because women typically are talking about safety, it's the ability to create safety for oneself. Oh, he need to make me feel safe. Oh, I'm not safe. It's not safe. So the one thing for you to be able to just really just walk around Earth liking yourself, feeling safe, period, interacting, this is more elevated way of being. The world is skeptical so I'm talking about a much more joyous state. Today, I went to go work out. I'm in the locker room and I hear this woman say something like under her breath, and it sounded like English. And I turned around and I said, "Where are you from?" She said, "San Francisco." I was like, "Oh my God, can we hug?" And just the whole, she's like, "We're getting ready to go to lunch. You want to go right now?" And it's like, it's this whole thing. And then she's with this guy, he's in the lobby, and then and we're having a whole conversation. And I'm talking about a much more elevated way of being so we can do lovely projects together. Rent, spaces around the world and host rich retreats. I'm talking about where we can support each other with the writing and publishing of books, where we can, we're having meetings at beautiful restaurants in Italy, planning content and planning what we're doing, where we can host jewelry parties in Paris or South Africa or Switzerland, where we can, be engaging in these prosperous parties, prosperous business projects, moving money around. And for that to really happen, we got to be streaming love clean. We have to be radically honest. And let me complete the ability to create safety for oneself, willing to be entirely responsible for one's reality, be radically honest, and be deeply self-aware. Most people, and I imagine many of you here, are not familiar with your normal is not living abundantly. I mean, emotionally, I mean, in your energy, I mean, in your expression, I mean, in your ability to receive life, all of it, the good and the bad, and being able to transmute, alchemize, be with it on the spot. You're skeptical, you reject a lot, you're highly judgmental, you're projecting stories of separation on people all the time. And I just realized that it's a lot, y'all. And here's the thing, you want it too though. Like the very thing that you don't know how to have yet, you want it. And the relationships you need, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, you need the relationships to practice dissolving these lower level ways of being. These are low level ways of being. People who are doing things that are alive don't want to be around that. Like, do you want to be around somebody who's constantly projecting their shit onto you, making up stories about who you are and your intent? They're, pessimistic. They're highly judgmental. They don't know how to let love in. They're highly skeptical and on guard. They're pessimistic. I'm telling you, I'm not like that. And so much of my isolation, admittedly, so much of my isolation is because it hurts. Let me tell you, it hurts to want to love. Do you see this talking about boomers? What do you mean? Dallas, you're loaded, sweetheart. I really wish for cleanliness for you. I really wish for dissolution for you. You are so heavy with shit that is uninteresting. You're so heavy with shit that's uninteresting. The kind of power and connection and creation beings like this do not want to be around you. I can tell you that right now. And maybe you're fine with that because that's your version of safety. But what I'm talking about here is it's like this. You're at home eating a meal you love, or you're out somewhere and you have an idea and you have somebody you can call. Oh my girl, I got this idea. I'm gonna fly to you tomorrow or next week, and we let's work this out. and we decide, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to go do it at the spa. We're going to go sit in the spa and we're going to have this meeting. And then we go get in the spa and we have this meeting. And then we're like, oh my God. And then we have some other people we can call. And they're like, where y'all at? Oh, we're in Houston. Girl, we're going to be there tomorrow, next week. Okay, yeah, let's meet about it. And then before you know it, we putting together a whole project. We're moving money around. You can see that something about me is kind of off. I can be like, I'm just checking in. How you doing? Maybe I do something that behaves badly to you or that makes you salty or rubs you the wrong way. And instead of you withholding it and festering in judgment and having catty shit going on between us, we can have a conversation about this very honest. Like, I got a conversation I'm gonna have with a woman out here in Italy when we meet within the next few days about some shit that I'm like, wait a minute, hold on here, right? Because we can all feel when there's a lack of fluidity. We can feel when love is not streaming clean, connection is not streaming clean. Y'all get what I'm saying? Yes? Y'all get what I'm saying? So let me share the 4, and then I'll wrap up with gathering in Houston and Brooklyn. So the 4 necessities, and this is not all, these are just some of the hot ones that I'm bringing forth today. The ability to create safety for yourself so that no matter what is happening, you are well. Number 2 is willing to be entirely responsible for your reality and your results. Number 3 is be willing to be radically honest, particularly where it's uncomfortable and you don't like it and you don't like the way it feels. Number 4, highly self-aware. Okay, those are the 4 for today, and there's so much more. So in May, toward the end of May, I'm looking at us having a co-ed gathering. As long as I have a team I'm ready to train the team, work with you closely, and you're going to be accountable for producing results with getting the people in the room. Houston in May, Brooklyn in August. Houston in May, Brooklyn in August. So if you're in or around one of those cities and you're ready to grow, develop your leadership, stream clean, okay? Be confronted, because you're looking to everything that's in the way of love streaming clean will be confronted. So if you're ready to be mature, if you're ready to engage in all this, what I just read, create safety for yourself, be entirely responsible for your reality, the way you emote, etc. Be radically honest, even when it's uncomfortable. Be highly self-aware, and you are ready to be in the relationships that help you work this, refine this, practice this so you grow up, so love can stream clean. If you're in or around Brooklyn, if you're in or around Houston, Texas, and you want to be on the leadership team where you will be held accountable. There are goals, there are deadlines, you will be in leadership, and you will strengthen in this role. So if you want this, send me a DM here on TikTok, okay? So that concludes the topic of streaming clean. I want to say, for those of you who are eyeing shadow gold, we have been in the DMs regarding shadow gold, communicating regarding shadow gold. Today, which is Wednesday, and tomorrow are the last 2 days that I'm available to get on the phone specifically for this round of shadow gold, okay? And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up now, and I will take any questions. I'll use these last 2 minutes to answer questions. Are there any questions here? All right, I missed some things. Visionary, hey, what's your name? Visionary of Styles. That is definitely true, and it's best to address it instead of letting it fester. Yep. Hi, Mykala. Is Mykala? Hey, Brooklyn. What are you talking about, Desha? Are you talking about Sunday's feminine conversation? Hey, Sophia. Yeah, are you aware of shadow gold, or are you just now hearing me talk about it? Have you been looking at the page already, and or are you just now hearing about it? Because if you have questions about what you read on the page, you can bring those here. And I'll say, for everybody who's here, shadow gold is a foundational tool that I created for women who are really serious about full power, their primal power, your sensual power, your forbidden power, and really doing this high level work. Everything that I'm going to guide you through is going to be high level. Okay. It works. So this is not some, you know, it's just not kindergarten work. Okay. It's not entry level work. So if you've been on your spiritual path, your feminine path, you know, for a while, and you're still unable to produce the results that you want, and you have, you know, like I said, have been saying, a lot of this work is geared toward women who have always been different. So if you've always been different, you've engaged in, you know, I've been working on this for so long, or you're constantly in these patterns that you hate, but you're doing all the work and the baths, the spiritual this and the spiritual that, and the cleanse for this, and the past life regressions, and the therapy, and the shamanic healing, and the tarot card reading, and the cutting of the cords. You've done all the things and you still have been unable. The truth is, every woman needs to come home to her primal state. And on the way down there, everything that's in the way, the shame, what you don't want people to find out about you, the lies that you've been telling for a long time and telling them so convincingly that now you believe them. If you're ready, this is womanhood. Like, this is the real deal. So that's what Shadow Gold is helping you come into, the real power, so you can be the creative, expressed, true, authentic teacher, healer, leader, coach, you know, project manager, whatever it is that you're doing in the world, that you can be in the real, full primal power, refined. You can get that right now with the link in my bio. It's a foundational tool. No matter what level you think you're at, it's a foundational tool. You can get it at the link in my bio, and I'm happy to have a phone conversation with those of you who are serious about it. Okay, so you can DM me. I'm here. It's 4 p.m. here in Italy, and I'm probably going to be around to take calls until about 9 o'clock my time. So that's what, 4 or 5 hours or something like that. So you can DM me and I'll probably respond within an hour. And I'm happy to get on the phone after you've read the details about Shadow Gold. You got questions about it. The community is included. So for those of you who are ready for community, you've been hearing me talk about the woman community. The woman community is included in Shadow Gold. It's it's a wonderful community. Yeah, it's an absolutely wonderful community. And there's so much. We're going to be meeting the first Monday in January. We meet the first Monday of every month. So we'll be meeting the first Monday in March, but then we're connecting. We're in there every day, every day. Okay. Any other questions? I want to reconcile love and connection. You want to reconcile love and connection where there were misunderstandings. How should I go about it? Reaching out to a person. I imagine there's something broke somewhere. So get clear about your true intent and then reach out to the person. We have a woman in the community right now who her goal last week was to reach out to 2 friends who she admitted she was not the friend she wanted to be in it. And we held her accountable within a time frame to report back in the group. And she did it with one friend, and we're actually waiting to see about the second friend. So that's the value of community. There's accountability. You get to lay it down versus trying to do this stuff by yourself. Community is powerful, especially mine, because you're held accountable. All right. Thank you all so much for being here.